The recent comments by Peter Obi, labeling former head of state, General Gowon, as an enemy to be forgiven, has emboldened many of his closet IPOB supporters who now wear the tag Obidients, which in reality is the political arm of the Indigenous People of Biafra movement, to revise history and make fallacious and salacious claims. One such claim was made by a certain Azikiwe, who asserts that Biafra has a legal claim to secede and is being extrajudicially held back in Nigeria by domestic and international powers, especially the British government. But the truth is that by virtue of succeeding Nigerian constitutions, beginning from the Independence Constitution of 1960, no part of Nigerians had or has a right to secede from the country named the Federal Republic of Nigeria. For that, we have Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe to thank if you believe in a united Nigeria, or blame if you support Biafran secession. The idea for a secession clause was mooted by Chief Obafemi Awolowo in 1954 during the Lagos Constitutional Conference. But Nnamdi Azikiwe rejected it and galvanized a majority of the conference attendees to kill the idea. After this was rejected, Chief Awolowo again wrote to the then Governor General of Nigeria, who rejected the clause on the grounds that the majority, led by Nnamdi Azikiwe, was not in support of it. When the 1954 Constitution Conference started, my good friend Chief Obafemi Awolowo tabled a motion to the effect that in the new constitution, provision should be made that any state which feels like seceding should do so. I was opposed to it and said that once we have a federation, we are indivisible and perpetual. That was when we began to use that expression, the indivisibility and perpetuity of the federation, and that to secede would amount to treason. And so a debate ensued. The Secretary of State then was Oliver Littleton, later Lord Chandos, and he was very much interested, and that was his first time in saying that the people of African descent were people actually debating at a high level. So a full day was given to Chief Awolowo to make his points. He spoke brilliantly as a lawyer. He made his points why secession should be incorporated in the Constitution. He cited the case of the Soviet Union, which is a federation, and that secession is written there so that any state in the Soviet Union can secede at will. He also cited the case of Western Australia, and eventually he finished his case and was applauded. Lord Chandos said that on the face of the arguments before him, it would be suicidal to incorporate secession in our constitution, and that is why we have Section 86 in our constitution, that if any region or state should secede, then it will be an act of treason. We adjourned. My opposition to secession by Nnamdi Azikiwe. Lord Chandos said that on the face of the arguments before him, it would be suicidal to incorporate secession in our constitution. And that is why we have Section 86 in our constitution, that if any region or state should secede, then it will be an act of treason. And that was what led to this war, because Colonel Ojukwu seceded and so violated the constitution. Nnamdi Azikiwe, in a speech he gave at a caucus meeting of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons on Monday, May 12, 1953, threatened the northern region of a blockade and denial of access to the sea if they should attempt to secede from Nigeria. His exact words were as follows: "It may lead to economic nationalism in the eastern region, which can pursue a policy of blockade of the north by refusing it access to the sea over and under the River Niger, except upon payment of tolls. It may lead to economic warfare between the north on the one hand and the eastern or western regions on the other." On February 23, 1966, Isaac Adaka Boro declared the secession of the Niger Delta Republic from Nigeria. After he did this, there was outrage in the eastern region, which almost resulted in riots. My question to you, Onyekwelu, is this. If Isaac Boro's declaration of the Niger Delta Republic was seen as a crime by the then head of state, Major General Ironsi, and the government of the eastern region headed by then Lieutenant Colonel Ojukwu, Isaac Boro's part of the Niger Delta was then under eastern Nigeria. Why should the declaration of the Republic of Biafra be seen as lawful? Lieutenant Colonel Emeka Ojukwu himself was the military governor of eastern Nigeria who first moved against Isaac Boro with the assistance of the Ironsi central government. If both Ojukwu and Ironsi fought Isaac Boro for attempting to secede from eastern Nigeria and Nigeria, why are some of Peter Obi's supporters blaming Gowon and Nigeria for fighting Colonel Ojukwu when he declared Biafra?